Okay, so I've had students ask me this question. They see a position in a company and they see lots of other positions that they would equally like. So does it look bad if the students apply to multiple positions in the company, like they're just fishing for anything? And so what would your advice be on that? And so Lisa, I'll ask you this question first.
Yeah, for me, I don't think it looks bad as long as you are not bombarding the system with your application. I would recommend if you're doing more than one that you write perhaps a cover letter that describes why you're interested in that specific role. So you know that there's the HR recruiter may be helpful for them to look through them. So that would be my advice. It's not bad. It's just be selective. And think about it too. If you really don't understand what the role is, but you're applying because it's at your level, perhaps maybe not choose that one, but just choose something that you kind of understand, and then you can put your best foot forward on. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree. And again, I think in my world now, where hiring managers, they wouldn't even know what other roles you apply to. So in my company, it's not a disadvantage. I have worked with other companies in the past where they would say, well, the person's applied to 8 different roles. They're all different in terms of like that career path. Like, do they even know where they want to be, right? And so I would just say, just thinking through that. And yeah, the other thing Lisa mentioned is the cover letter. I would also just be careful. Like if you're applying to a QA inspector role, but then you're also applying to, let's say a client services lead role, the resumes should look different. Like, and really think about that as well. And the easy hack there is you look at the job description and you're like, what have I done? What experiences could I relate to? How can I weave that into this resume for client services versus a QA, technician role? So they're going to be different. And what'll get you thrown out right away is like a client services role that's all QA. It's like, well, where's I want people with a quality background in client services, but how does that correlate? So just be careful of that as well.
Excellent.
I have a really relevant question on the chat. It's how important is it to know exactly what kind of role you want, especially for students who might be uncertain about things like that. We're not looking exactly for you to know where you're going to go in 5 years. I mean, you should have an idea what you want to do, but you still haven't entered industry. You're going to Pathway for Patient Health, so you have a better understanding than 99% of the students out there. So that's great, but we're not looking for you to know what your next step is. We were there before. So we were students. We had no idea, just to give you an example of truth here, when Illumina, a recruiter at Illumina called me, I had no idea what Illumina did. I thought they were a light bulb company, until I looked them up. And then I'm like, oh, wait, it looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna look into the company, and it attracted me because of their mission, and their vision. So sometimes you don't know, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I've seen many companies don't put much of a description of what the role is. It's just kind of like, what are the qualifications, and it jumps right into that. So it is difficult for students to understand, like, what am I doing every day? What does that job even look like? So you just have to you get a feel for it. And then Tony, I think you were the one who said, look up on LinkedIn to see if someone in that company has a similar role, and can you connect with them and ask, what does this look like? But Tony, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's okay. I still don't know what my role looks like right now. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's like we're all right. We're all still learning and growing, and but to your point, like if you are a student getting ready to come out, like no one expects you to know your whole career path, and but like I said, you're interviewing us just as much as we're interviewing you. Like I don't want someone to take a role not knowing like what that's going to look like. And so I think that is your time. If you get that interview, whether it's at the first step of, in our world it's a TA kind of screening, you're finding out about the role. And I think that's like our process is really nice in that way, that like you can ask those maybe like, I don't want to say dumb questions, but you can ask those questions to the TA person and they'll help you kind of figure that out first. And then when you go to the next step, it might be a panel or the hiring manager. So it's okay to not know. And yeah, like Lisa said, it's funny because when I started with Thermo Fisher, I was at University of Pennsylvania interviewing, and like all of a sudden I start walking around our microbiology labs and analytical, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that freezer says Thermo Fisher. Okay, I guess I'm working to like they make freezers and clinical supplies, and I was in a completely I am in a completely different business that doesn't do that. But it was interesting, like your eyes kind of open up, you're like, okay, wow, this is interesting. So, we all do our own research. We all have to figure that out and go through that process. So it's natural.
Okay.